These people like down here like two things, boobs and turning left.
What would you do if you found an old, abandoned racetrack in Florida and decided to completely bankrupt yourself just to buy it? We're talking bank account way past zero, an IRS, payment bouncing, and literally hitting up your friends for personal loans just to survive. Most people would call that financial suicide. But the guy who did it isn't most people. You probably know him as Cletus McFarland, but his real name is Garrett Mitchell. When NASCAR champion Kevin Harvick straight up asked him why he risked his entire life for a broken down track, Garrett admitted he just went absolutely all in. He had this wild vision for what car culture and live events could actually look like if someone was brave enough to bet everything on it.
Why don't I buy the circle track and we'll revamp it on YouTube?
Yeah.
And this other guy Demolition Ranch had been really successful with an abandoned mansion series. I was like, maybe I'll do an abandoned racetrack series. We bought it and it just like put the afterburners on our YouTube channel on.
And spoiler alert, he was 100% right. That abandoned asphalt oval became the Freedom Factory, which is now one of the most legendary grassroots motorsports venues in America. And Cletus went from playing a goofy fictional character online to becoming a legitimate NASCAR driver, a racetrack owner, and the ultimate bridge between internet car culture and professional racing. This is the insane story of how it actually happened. To understand how he pulled this off, you have to go back to Omaha, Nebraska. Garrett was born in 1995 and practically grew up in cars. His dad ran a taxi company full of Crown Victorias, so Garrett was driving cars around parking lots before he even had a license. Since Nebraska lets you drive at 14, he was on the road early in a Chevy Trailblazer. Right around then, he started his YouTube channel. He was only 14, so he had no real plan or persona. He was just a kid filming the car world. His big break came when he got a job managing social media for 1320 Video, a massive name in street racing. For 6 years, he worked behind the scenes, learning exactly what online car fans love to watch. And he realized pretty quickly that people didn't just care about the cars. They cared about the personality behind the wheel. Soon, Garrett started focusing on drag racing for his own channel, building up his famous Corvette, Leroy. But everything changed by total accident at a racing event in 2015.
We're here with Cletus McFarland, and you're 1969.
Yep, it's a big block Chevrolet engine.
Garrett threw on a cheap shirt he'd bought at Walmart 5 minutes earlier, put on a goofy redneck accent, and started joking around on camera. He and his boss Kyle thought it would just be a funny video for a few friends. Garrett actually wanted to be called Dale McFarland, but Kyle blurted out Cletus McFarland instead. They rolled with it, and Kyle stayed up all night editing the clip. When Garrett woke up the next morning, his phone was blowing up. The video got over 1 million views on Facebook in less than 12 hours. Just like that, an empire was born. A joke name invented on the fly changed his life overnight. Within a month, he was selling merch, putting his law school plans on hold, and betting his entire future on a character he created completely by accident.
So as you guys know, I got a C7 Corvette. She's gosh dang beautiful. It's got a Pro Charger on it, a bunch of other goodies.
After leaving 1320 Video to focus on his own channel full-time, Garrett took that character and turned it into an absolute powerhouse. He built the Cletus McFarland brand around a super specific vibe. A highly patriotic, insanely skilled car guy who loved speed, hated fake people, and made working on engines look like the most fun thing on earth. His videos weren't polished like TV shows, they were raw, unscripted, and felt totally real. And the biggest star of the channel besides Cletus, a completely stripped down salvage title, 2001 Chevy Corvette C5 named Leroy.
Welcome, Project C5.
Garrett bought Leroy in 2017 for just $5,500. At first, he threw on a supercharger and an exoskeleton roll cage to get it to 705 horsepower. A year later, he went completely nuts, swapping in a massive twin-turbo engine that pushed out over 1,000 horsepower. But Leroy wasn't just a car, he was a main character. Viewers tuned in every single week to watch a continuous story. You watched Leroy get faster, watched him blow up, watched the guys rebuild him, and watched him break all over again. The struggles and failures were just as entertaining as the record-breaking wins. This became Garrett's signature style. He was the guy putting jet engines in El Caminos and chasing legendary 7-second track times, essentially creating a brand new lane for drag racing entertainment. It made sense too because Garrett always said his dream was to have a talk show and just make people smile and laugh. As the channel grew, the cars got wilder. He built Mullet, a famous race-ready El Camino, and an insane twin-turbo Chevy Camaro called Eagle. Garrett wasn't just doing this for clicks either. He turned himself into a genuinely elite driver, even resetting the quarter-mile radial tire speed record at a massive 261 miles per hour during the World Cup finals. The channel exploded past 4 million subscribers. The merch empire took off, and his live Cletus and Cars events started drawing massive crowds to drag strips all over the country. The brand was huge, but behind the scenes, a major problem was quietly building up, and it was about to force the biggest decision of Garrett Mitchell's entire life. As the channel grew into a massive business, Garrett hit a major wall. The exact stuff that made him famous, like the wild burnouts, the crazy stunts, and the flame-throwing, engine-screaming car content, was starting to cause serious trouble. YouTube's strict moderation was cracking down on it, and law enforcement was keeping a very close eye on the events where they filmed. He was running out of places to safely play, to keep making the videos his fans loved without getting banned or arrested. He needed his own legal, completely controlled playground.
I bought the racetrack because at the time my channel had been growing. YouTube was kind of cracking down on, doing dangerous stuff on the street, illegal activity like.
Owning a racetrack had been Garrett's dream since he was a kid. So when a crazy opportunity popped up in January 2020, he didn't hesitate.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the first official Freedom Factory video at our very own racetrack.
He found the former DeSoto Speedway in Manatee County, Florida. Back in the 1970s, this 3/8 mile asphalt oval was legendary, known as the fastest short track in the South, and it had hosted some of the biggest names in NASCAR. But after decades of racing, it had been shut down and completely abandoned, leaving Mother Nature to take over the facility. This place was far from ready to go. We're talking 63 acres of overgrown weeds, crumbling asphalt, ruined grandstands, and broken infrastructure. Fixing it up was a massive financial gamble that would either cement his empire or completely destroy it. That brings us right back to the beginning. Garrett didn't just spend his savings, he sold everything he could, borrowed money from his business manager, and went all in on buying the Freedom Factory. It was a $2.2 million gamble with no backup plan, but it became the foundation of everything he built afterward. But he got the keys. He immediately renamed the track the Freedom Factory, which fit his brand perfectly. It wasn't just a catchy name, it was exactly what he needed. A place where he could finally do whatever the content required, legally, at full speed, without anyone ever knocking on the door to shut him down. The massive renovation project was documented in full, because when you're Cletus McFarland, every single challenge is prime content. Viewers tuned in to watch the weeds get cleared out, the crumbling asphalt get patched up, and the broken infrastructure slowly come back from the dead. While the track wasn't quite ready for live spectators yet, Garrett didn't let that stop him. He started hosting major pay-per-view events like the Freedom 500 and Le Mullets Online. Finally, after a full year of non-stop construction, the Freedom Factory opened its gates for its very first public event in February 2021. Since then, the venue has exploded into a year-round destination for massive burnout competitions, drift events, circle track racing, and truck tugs. The Freedom 500 quickly became a signature race, and by the 2026 edition, it was packing genuine star power. Legendary racer Travis Pastrana actually returned as the defending champion after pulling off an insane last-lap passing move in 2025 during a door-to-door battle with Kevin Smith and Corey LaJoie. Travis Pastrana and Corey LaJoie are not just random internet personalities making a quick cameo. These are legitimate, world-class professional motorsport figures, competing at a venue built by a guy who started out filming cars at 14 years old. The Freedom Factory turned into way more than just a passion project. It became a true legacy that Garrett plans to pass down to his son. Events like the 2.4 hours of Le Mullet and Cletus and Cars regularly draw massive crowds in person, while thousands of fans worldwide buy live stream access to watch from home. Most importantly, the track became the ultimate content engine that solved his original problem. If he needs to push a twin-turbo Corvette to its absolute limit, film a fire-breathing burnout, or host a 50-car drag invitational with all his YouTube friends, he has the perfect venue to do it safely. His massive multi-million-dollar gamble paid off completely, creating a thriving business with multiple revenue streams while giving him the ultimate freedom to create whatever he wants. With the Freedom Factory thriving, Garrett felt bold enough to chase something he had been building toward for years, a legitimate professional racing career outside of drag racing. In April 2022, he announced he was making his debut in the Stadium Super Truck Series in Long Beach, California, driving the number 1776 truck. He proved immediately that he belonged there. In the second race of the weekend, he was actually leading on the very last lap and looked completely ready to take the win. But on the final jump, his truck slammed into the ground, causing him to spin out and hand the victory to racing legend Robbie Gordon. Garrett later invited the entire Stadium Super Truck Series to his Bristol 1000 event at Bristol Motor Speedway, where he ended up taking a solid third-place finish. These truck races were a massive statement. They proved to the entire racing world that Garrett could hold his own against professional drivers in a chaotic, high-flying environment. They also proved that his massive audience would follow him anywhere he went. He backed up that success by continuing to dominate the drag strip. At the 2022 World Cup Finals, he won his category outright. Then, at the 2023 World Cup Finals, he took home the crown in the stick shift class, piloting his famous Corvette, Leroy, to an insane 7.32-second run at over 203 miles per hour. These were not fake exhibition matches or staged videos for clicks. These were competitive, sanctioned victories against some of the best drivers in the country. All of this paved the way for his biggest move yet, entering the world of NASCAR. In 2025, he made his debut in the RK Menard Series driving for Retta Jones Racing. He didn't just show up to participate either. He brought home top 10 finishes at legendary tracks like Talladega Superspeedway and Charlotte Motor Speedway. His best finish was 9th place at Charlotte, which is a genuinely respectable result for someone making their very first appearance on a high-speed national oval. By 2026, his racing career shifted into absolute overdrive. In February, news broke that Garrett was testing at Rockingham Speedway, working to get approval for his debut in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series with Nice Motorsports. He ended up starting 12th at Daytona, but unfortunately got loose off turn 4 on just the 6th lap, hitting the inside wall and finishing 37th. But he didn't let that setback slow him down. Just a month later, a massive announcement shook up the racing world. Garrett was signed to drive 3 races for Richard Childress Racing in the legendary number 33 car, starting at Rockingham in April. To put that in perspective, RCR is one of the most storied organizations in NASCAR history. This is the exact team that ran Dale Earnhardt Sr. to 6 of his 7 championships. RCR does not put drivers in their cars as promotional stunts or gimmicks. They are a dead serious racing operation, and the fact that they partnered with a YouTube creator for a development program shows exactly how much the professional racing world respects the massive audience he brings to the table. And that audience is definitely showing up. During a race at Talladega, his live in-car camera feed alone drew over 70,000 concurrent viewers on NASCAR's YouTube channel, breaking records for the series. His massive risk-taking wasn't just paying off for his own brand anymore. It was bringing a whole new generation of fans into traditional motorsports. Of course, the actual racing results showed he was still learning. At Rockingham, driving the number 33 RCR car, he started 35th and finished 32nd, even surviving a crazy spin on lap 4. But he bounced right back. That same day at the same track, he finished an impressive 4th in the RCA race. Then in late April at Talladega, he brought home a spectacular second-place finish in the RCA Menard Series, marking his best result yet in a sanctioned national series. Whenever he spoke into the microphone post-race, the clips went viral. Even NASCAR itself is still figuring out how to handle his identity. In the official results, he is listed as Garrett Mitchell, but during the actual TV broadcasts, commentators call him Cletus McFarland. The sport has basically accepted that the man and the character are now completely inseparable. Even when NASCAR denied him approval to race at Talladega in the higher level series, citing a need for more short track experience, Garrett didn't complain. Instead, he just added more races and more tracks to his schedule to earn the credentials he needs. He is doing this the right way, learning the sport from the bottom up and putting in the real work rather than demanding shortcuts just because he has millions of followers. The real question worth asking isn't whether Cletus is an elite NASCAR driver yet. He isn't. He is a talented drag racer in his late 20s, learning a completely new, brutal discipline under a massive public spotlight. The real question is what his presence means for a sport that has spent 20 years desperately trying to find a younger audience. While NASCAR pours millions into traditional marketing campaigns, Cletus is delivering that exact demographic organically. His fans followed him through years of drag racing, crazy burnouts, and the Freedom Factory. Now they are tuning into oval racing for the very first time because a guy they genuinely trust is behind the wheel. When his in-car camera alone breaks viewership records, the professional racing world takes notice. He also completely flipped the script on how to become a professional race car driver. Traditional racing careers require massive family wealth or corporate sponsors starting from childhood. Garrett built his career from absolute zero by building an audience first. He used YouTube, merch, and event revenue to fund his own racing development, earning his way into Stadium Super Trucks, ARCA, and eventually getting Richard Childress Racing to answer the phone. It is a completely new path into professional motorsports, and it only exists because he was willing to bet his entire financial existence on it. What started as a joke video at a Colorado drag race and a multi-million-dollar gamble on a broken-down track has turned into the most interesting blueprint for the future of motorsports. Cletus McFarland didn't just buy a racetrack, he might be showing the entire racing industry exactly how to survive, one oval at a time, from the seat of a legendary RCR stock car. Tuna, no crust, signing off.